Hey, good morning, guys. This is Chris with Christopher's Hobbies on Facebook, the Worm on YouTube. Yeah, last video we talked about scratch building a house and scratch building structures in your area. Um, what I am attempting to do here is I am going to um, attempt to build a house. I got a second one started, but I'm going to get this one out of the way so you guys got a general idea how I go about scratch building structures and houses and buildings. And this is just a simple layout of a house I found being built in Chillicothe, Florida. Now, it's a newer construction with older technology being used, as well as new technology. Um, It's hard to describe the house, but it has a huge front porch. This roof comes out over the porch. It's like almost it's the width of the house, which is roughly around 22 feet wide, but it also comes out about almost 20 feet. It's a huge front porch. I don't know if the guy's going to screen it or not, but I may end up screening this one if I can finagle a way of making a screen door. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the door, but I may screen it. I don't know. But either way, his front porch is huge. And then on the side of that house, there's a carport that runs down the side. And then he has an addition. It looks like multiple additions in the back that were look like afterthoughts when he was building the house. They come out after the back, and then the roof attaches up to the main roof and then comes down. And then his back porch more than likely has a sliding glass door, which I can't be. The guy wasn't very friendly enough for me to go photograph his house being built. And, you know, you're going to run across this when you go to getting prototype data. Or just data, period, so you can make whatever you want to make. In this case, I got the house laid out, all four walls, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I got the window placement, the type of windows I want to use, which are going to be my. I gave you I showed you in the beginning, the first video, of what windows and doors I plan on using. I plan on using that door, that window, that, or I could end up using this door. I could end up using a shorter door, but I think I would much rather go with the taller door. This one here. And go that route. Yeah, I think that would look better. I made that one. I think I drew that one just a little narrow, but thank God for a file. Could straighten that out. But I got two different door sizes here. Being that I'm not using the sliding glass door on this place, more than likely what I'm going to end up doing is just use the bigger doors rather than the shorter door. But they're both 3 foot wide, so. Plus, too, most of your southern houses usually do. If they have big windows, there's fewer of them. If there's fewer or smaller windows, there'd be more of them. So in this case, I used all large windows and everything else. So now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to transfer this to the tape. This is how I get the image on the paper to the wood matter that I plan on using. Let me get out a piece of lumber for the siding. Let's see if I got a big enough used piece to do what I want to do. Let me see. Nope. Might have to use a brand new piece. I like to use nope, that ain't gonna work. What are you doing in there? Alright, that's too big. That'll work. Yes. I'll use this piece. I think I got one that's open somewhere. That's batten board. That's the 32. Okay, we're gonna have to use this one. Okay, I'm running out of material again. Okay, this is what I'm gonna use for the side walls. Okay, this is what I'm gonna use for the side walls. It should turn out pretty good. I've used this material a lot. Now there's 100 different ways I could transfer this image onto this board. And like I said, for those of you lucky enough to have maybe a laser to cut out your boards, it'd be a simple matter of just coming up with a building, putting it on a computer, and then throwing this material, I guess, into a printer and cutting it out. But unfortunately, I don't have one, and that should barely fit. Yes, it does. Good. They make this in two lengths. They make this in 11-inch lengths, and they also make it. Let me see if I got one, a large one laying around somewhere. Here's all my cut wood. I don't like using the larger cut wood too much. No, I do not. Yeah, maybe I do. That might be one. No, it's not. Yeah, I get on top of my wood collection, I got more wood. I'm just making sure I don't have any of this on a longer. I'll show you if I have any. Yes, I do. No, this is the flooring. I'm sorry, that's the flooring. That's flooring. And that's just plain wood. Okay, so I have flooring in two thicknesses. This is like a 1/16 of an inch thick. I have a little bit thicker of a piece of that as well. I got different spacings. I have that. And then I really have a tinier one that's like that. And like I said, what I end up using, I use this for both siding and flooring. Although that is a thin sheet, and I really don't like using thin sheets too much because when you go to stain thin sheets like this, it'll warp real easy. The thicker ones, usually it's less problematic for warping, but you can get around it. But fortunately enough, unfortunately, I'm out of this in the 24-inch length. Used it all up. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out just the general of this structure. I'm going to go along the bottom of it, the full length. Normally I would say have a cut pad under it, but see, I don't have a big enough cut pad. I got to get one that fits this desk. And just lightly, and I'm breaking one of my major rules. I should have put a sharp blade on this knife, which I am going to do right after I make this cut, because it's taking me too long to go through it, and I'm having to put too much pressure on it to get it to go through. Okay, let me put some fresh blades on before I start this. Another thing I could tell you to do, you know, I get the cheap blades. I find that they're cheap, but they work just as well as the good ones, and they're far cheaper. Another thing I do is I do not throw my blades in a trash can or a bag. I use old medicine bottles to put my old blades in, because then when that fills up, I throw the whole thing away, or you could recycle it, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to put a fresh blade on this. Yeah, this handle kind of stinks. I got to get the other one. But yeah, I buy these, the blades here. I get like 100 for like $5, $10, something like that. And they last me just as long as the X-Actos. I don't need to break the bank when it comes to that. I'm going to go just slightly above that roof line there. Cut this out. Okay. Oh, much better. And just take your time. You ain't gotta do it in one pass. I'm trying not to skid this up, or scratch that up too bad. I mean, I feel it scratching, but not much I can do about that. And like I said, make your cuts just slightly larger than your project. Okay. That way, you can get a nice straight edged cut. So, once you got your image, cut it out. I think that bottom one may need to be cut again. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Okay. And another thing you could do too is you could, if you do draw them out and you need like multiples of the same building or wall or something, you can photocopy this. You know, you can photocopy the whole paper. Even if you don't have a printer, a copier, or anything like that, you can go to like Staples and just make a handful of copies. That way you can have them on file and whenever you want to build one. I tend not to because I don't want two structures looking alike or being the same. I want some individuality. So when you look at each structure, it's going to be different. I don't want any copycats or anything like that. So I take this away for now, and I got that other one on there. I'll draw another one on that too. So now I'm left with my 4 basic walls. If you have 4, 6, 10, I try to put them on the same strip or multiple strips. If there's going to be like, this is 4 walls together, then what I'll end up doing is I'll try to put all 4 walls on the same one. And then if there's like when I did the church and I had the bell tower was by itself, the 3 walls, and then I did the 4 walls of the church. Actually, there was more than 4 walls of the church. There was the bell tower, the main body of the church, and then I built the addition of the church, just like they did probably when they built that church the first time, and they added the 20 by 20 room on the back end. I did the same thing. So here we go. Now we want to get this image onto this piece of wood. Make sure I got the right one. Yep. Okay. So this is the bottom, that's the top. And what I'm going to do is I want this image stuck to this wood. Just like so. Okay, but we don't want to glue it down, and if you try to hold it and cut it, you're going to it's an awful mess. Plus, too, when you go to cutting out these windows, you run a chance of cracking a lot of the lumber. And you will crack lumber trying to free cut out a window. So I I really advise you to make sure you got all your windows and doors drawn out. Now, depending on I only have 1.5 inch tape. My 2-inch I ran out of. Normally I would just use 2-inch or 3-inch wide painter's tape. So in this case, I got to laminate. Use that. And what the tape does too is when you lay this over the wood with your paper and you go to cutting it out, the tape also holds that wood together. So as the knife is pushing through here, it keeps the wood from spreading out on you and cracking and splitting and going the wrong route. And it really does benefit. And this is one of the things I could tell you when free cutting out windows, doors, or any kind of thing on a window. Tape is your friend. It will not hurt the wood. I can tell you that right now. It won't hurt the wood. And it'll work really, really well for you. Now, what we're going to do. I should use a quicker drying glue. Okay. I like to use Aleene's or Aleene's or Aleene's or whatever tacky glue. This is my favorite glue. It comes in, I get it at Hobby Lobby. I buy these every time I go to Hobby Lobby. I pick one up, even if I don't need it. I pick it up because sometimes when there's a run on it, you can never find it. This here is amazing glue. I like to use it for building and doing everything with because it is very quick drying. Dries in about 15 minutes. I've never seen a white glue actually dry in 15 minutes. I mean, I'm talking hard. Someone made a mention that I build buildings really quick, and I can get through them really quick. The reason being is because the glue dries so fast. I could glue a wall, say I'd glue the front wall to the side wall, do my 90 degree. I'll walk away from it for about 15 minutes, play around on my phone, come back, it's dry as a bone and hard. So then I'll glue the other two onto that, and I could build a building relatively, a structure like this. If I wasn't doing a video, and if I would have started yesterday morning, I'd probably be finishing it up with it today. That's how fast this glue makes your life. So what I'm gonna do, I want to glue this to here. Like I said, I'm waiting for the glue to come to the bottom. But we're going to glue this onto here. Now, this is one of the things I tell people. This glue dries awfully, awfully fast. So, you have to work quick with it. Okay. Make sure you get the edges really, really well. I use a paintbrush. And I'm going to spread it out. Alright. I know my videos are about as exciting as watching wet paint dry. Or in this case, wet glue dry. And I spread it out. Now, I'm going to tell you, you have to work quick with this quick drying glue. I already feel the damn stuff setting up. It is, believe it or not, it is setting up already. I mean, it is a fast drying glue, and by all means, when you use it, work quick. I do have I have the same glue but slower drying, but being I'm doing this video, I want you guys to, I want to do as much as I can for you in each video. Okay, so I lined the bottom of the tape up with the bottom of the paper. Okay, push the paper down, nice and easy. Nice and easy. I use my Iffy Jiffy rolling pin here. Just rolling out the bumps and jumps here and stuff. Just make sure it's flat. Okay. Okay, that's all there is to it. And then, like I said, about 15-20 minutes. But if you ain't got 15-20 minutes to wait, steal your wife's hairdryer. Now just let that cool down. In the meantime, I want to soak this brush in water so I do not ruin it. Okay, alrighty, that's done. There you go. So now it's set up. By the time it cools down, it looks wet there on the outside, but that's where it was like really thick, and I pressed it down over here. I'm making sure there's no bumps in there. You know, it's nice and smooth because it throws your dimensions off and your straight cuts off and stuff like that. So I make sure it's nice and smooth, and it feels dry. I can't move the paper at all. So what I am going to do now is I am going to cut the basics out of it. Now let's go on the outside here. Let's cut the... I was going to cut the structure up, and I thought, no, don't do that, Chris. Let's not rush it. Let's give everybody the right information. I'll let you guys make your own mistakes. Because sometimes I will cut the outside edges off and stuff like that. One of my old drafting teachers I had back in high school, back in the 80s, he used to tell me, never trust the straight edge of anything. The straight edge of paper, the straight lines on the paper. He said, always use your T-square and trust in your first line you draw square. Because that will be your square for everything else. So what I do is I cut that out. And what I'm doing is I'm just cutting out this paper as it is. Okay. Hope y'all are keeping up. If you have any problems with the video, or I'm going too fast, I'm going too slow, I'm not being clear enough on something, please ask questions. I have no problem with questions. Only bad question is a question not asked. Because this is some simple basic stuff you learn. Okay, there's your structure on a nice piece of paper. Now, like I said, if you're building a bunch of buildings, you want to build 2 of these, you can photocopy it, redraw it. It's a basic, simple structure. So really, all honesty, let's make sure I got these going the right way. Make sure I got these going the right way. They're going down. I've done one time. I cut a whole building out and it was upside down. So measure twice, maybe 3 times, cut once. Okay, now the straight edge here, I usually follow this edge, and then I'll cut my own straight edge out of here. So let me get my sandpaper. Okay, before I do anything, take my sandpaper, take the bottom edge. Just smooth it out. Okay. Where's my trash can? There it is. Okay. All right. So, what I am going to do is I am going to take this image and carefully... Ooh, shit. He's not even doing it right. Kind of rushing it here. I need to slow down. Let me grab it from this side. I'm trying to rush it so that, and the glue is somewhat set, but not quite set yet. So I'm gonna wait 15 minutes. So sometimes I wait overnight, sometimes I don't. In this case, I'm not. So patience is a virtue, so I'm told. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure this is even with the bottom of the top. Okay, bingo, right there. And what I'm gonna do, press it down really good. Okay. You could use a rolling pin, you could use something heavy and hard, it doesn't matter. And you can leave this on there for a day or two, but it's not going to take you a day or two to cut a simple building like this out. Let me make sure, double check. Yes, you can see everything. All right. I've had to check the camera angle, make sure you can see everything. So there you are. Your form is on there. Your form's on there. Now, what I advise you to do, cut the windows and doors out now. Why? You have all this material around supporting this, because you got a lot of I got a lot of narrow areas here, 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 all around. That once I start driving this knife through, this axis right here and this axis right here is going to want to crack and split. The tape, the great thing about using the tape is it also helps hold it together while we cut. And normally when I cut, I'll start with one window at a time. I'll start on the left, work my way to the right. Okay, and usually I'll make my first cut, and I'm going to try out the window and door first to make sure she fits. And another thing, do not try to make your first cut your last cut. In other words, don't try to push all the way down on your first cut. And just try to cut or start your X-Acto right on the line and end on the line. Now, being I'm cutting out windows and I am going to add a little bit of force toward the end, I need my cutting board. This cutting board's been around. I've had this bad boy forever. That looks like hell, doesn't it? But then again, I'm pretty sure you guys have the same thing sitting at home. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to carefully cut out the window. That was a little crooked right there. And this is really maybe the second time I've used these new windows and doors. So, you'll have to forgive me because I'm learning with the new doors and windows, just like you guys are learning how to build. So I got my first initial cut in. Everything's square, everything's pretty. Now, I'll start from one corner first. I'll push down into that corner straight down, then I'll come across. Now remember, with your grain, when you're cutting with your grain, you'll go through a lot quicker than when you're going against the grain. When you go with the grain, you're going to cut quick. And be careful with that because it's deceiving. Because your blade is not just cutting it, but it's also spreading the wood apart. Just like when you're nailing into wood on the edge, if you don't cut a pilot hole, it's going to split and crack. So it's the same thing when you're cutting. So once I get my initial straight edge in with the metal straight edge, I'll come in, I'll cut like that on a window. Then I'll turn the material. Then I'll cut, push down, and cut up. I usually almost always do, yeah, that one's crooked. Damn it. If you do cut a window a little bit larger, you can fill it in with some wood putty to kind of like hide the openings. But hopefully you don't. And I'm hoping these are just a slightly tad smaller. And like I said, you always do your first window on the side. Now, if I want to, another good thing about the tape too is once I cut out the windows, if I do a good job in cutting everything out and I do a right job, I could actually take each one of these as I cut it out and transfer it onto another piece of wood and build two buildings at the same time. I've done that. When I was building one for me and one for someone else, they wanted another structure, and I was like, well, I could copy it, do two separate ones, but I said, no, I'll just transfer the drawings. I'll just reuse this. Because this tape stays sticky pretty long, especially if you do everything in the same day. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to cut from this way. Now you see how I rotated it? I'm starting my cut here, going down, feeling myself cut. And I can feel the blade dragging along the thing. And I'm staying in there. I'm trying not to cut outside of it. And I look on the back. That's already through. That's already through. These corners are still kind of... Okay. Alright, there's that one. See here it crack? Hear that? I'm through. Now I just take my knife, push it through. You can save these little nuggets or you can throw them away, whatever you want to do. Now I'm going to grab the window and I want to see if it's too big, too small. I'd rather have one window screwed up. Normally I would do something like this on a side, but I didn't. Rule number 1 I broke. Let's see how this is. I'd rather have them too small than too big, and guess what? It's just a little too big, but not that bad. See that? The window fits in there beautifully. You know, a little loose, but I know when I go to do any of the others, just come in a little bit with my knife cut. Like I said, I'd much rather have it off a little bit. I'd rather have the the hole for the window smaller and then file out into the right sides and cut it the first time, because you run that risk of cutting it too big. And when it comes to these windows and doors, you really don't have much. See, I don't know if you can see that, but you don't have. Let me see if I can get a good picture of it. Come on. You don't have much wiggle room. So smaller is better, okay? Cut the window hole opening just maybe a little bit smaller and file out until you hit that size. And when I'm talking about files, while I'm talking to you about files, I use 2 general types of files, sometimes 3. I get my files from Chinese Harbor Freight. But they're cheap files, but they work really good. Just micro files. I use a flat file. There's another one that's a little narrower, but I tend to not use it. I use this square one here. Let me see if I can get a good picture of it. I tend to use this one. It's square. And I can use the corners, the edges, to file out the corners pretty good. So like I said, make the hole smaller, a little bit smaller, and file out is the best method. Don't try what I just did. I got lucky. I mean, it's slightly larger a little bit, but I could twist it, and it still allows me to do what I got to do with it. All right, so let me get some of this stuff off my desk. I don't need it. Okay. Get some of this. It's driving me nuts. I hate a cluttered desk. I really do. I'm that way at work too. I assemble things at work. So how does an assembly tech relax at the end of the day or on his weekend? Assembling things. So what I'm going to do for this video, we're just going to cut out these windows. Then I'll end the video. I'll finish cutting it out. And then I'm going to cut out the edges. I might make a small, short addendum video on how I cut all this out, and I'm going to stop there for the day. Normally I would just keep going, and I don't want a video that's 6 hours long, 12 hours long, 8 hours long on YouTube. It takes me forever to download 30 minutes to an hour, so I want to keep it down. So all I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to cut. I showed you how to cut the door and window out, and the windows out. I'll cut the rest of the windows out. Then I'll make an addendum video of me cutting the rest of the structure out. Okay, I'll be at a number 3 video. So, but you see how I generally cut them out and everything else. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them gladly on YouTube or Facebook or whatever you want. I do have a channel on Facebook too, a page. It's called Christopher's Hobbies. I post a lot of still pictures there of what I'm doing. But being I'm doing a video on this, and it's going to drag this project from being a 2-day project into maybe a 6-day project, because I got to explain everything I'm doing. It's going to take us a bit, but it'll be worthwhile for you guys to hang on and watch. But as I said, when you cut, try not to do a murder cut right away, go through in one cut. Don't do that. Small, just like you're cutting styrene, small, light cuts, then rotate your cuts, go backwards. Just cut out where the window is. And if you can, make the windows and door openings just a tad bit smaller than what you need and file out to it. Because remember, you can't add wood back. I mean, you could use some wood filler and stuff to fill in some tiny cracks, but big ones, it's going to show really bad. And this one on here I got lucky with. So I'm going to make all these just a tad smaller by cutting in on the line just a little bit, as I drew them just a little too large. They're actual scale to what the window is, but if it goes crazy on me, then I'm screwed. So I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to cut the rest of these windows out, and today I'll cut the 4 walls out, and I'll stop there. I'll let you guys catch up. If you're following along doing the same thing, I don't know. If you guys are, let me know. I can slow down or I can speed up, but I have very poor reception on my internet here, so it takes me almost all day to load a video. This video will take forever. I might load it Monday, so by the time you see this, it might be Monday, and you might see the second one on Monday. So all right, that's for cutting out windows and doors. So let me cut out the rest of these windows and doors, end the video here. Next video will be me cutting the main structure out in the 4 walls. Okay? So you guys that are watching, just hang tight. Like I said, I'm more than likely going to load all these videos at work because their internet connection's better and quicker at work, and I can have my phone downloading it. So any questions you're going to have, you can let me know. I will answer them as best as I can, either in a video while I'm making it, or make it, continuing on, or I'll answer it via written. So you guys stay tuned. We're going to do this again. All right, guys, let me get moving here.